It says that Mariana wants to hire Morgan to manage her new restaurant chain. Again, we see this is dealing with moral hazard. Mariana's trying to hire Morgan. It tells us Morgan's utility function. It tells us that W is her income and DE is the disutility of effort. It says Morgan, if she works hard, the probability the new chain will succeed is 60%, and the disutility of effort is 4. So in this case, the one thing that's different is it says that if she does not work hard, the probability of the new chain will succeed is 0.2. So usually G is equal to 0, or G is just not stated at all and we assume that it's 0. In this case, they tell us G is equal to 0.2. Just be careful that you understand how that's going to change the problem. It's going to come into play in our selection constraint, and we'll see that. And it says the disutility of effort is 2 if she doesn't work hard. So this is again different. Usually it's 0, and this time it's 2. It says at her current job, Morgan's utility is 10. Again, they didn't give us a reservation wage. They gave us a reservation utility. So this is going to make our life actually easier, but you have to notice that they've given us her utility at her other job and not her wage at her other job. And you need to know how to deal with that. The question says, what are the participation and incentive constraints that Mariana must meet if she wants to hire Morgan and motivate her to work hard, assuming that effort is not observable and success or failure is the only signal on which to base an incentive contract. And it says let WH stand for the salary if the chain is successful, and WL stand for the low wage if the chain is not successful. Well, the participation constraint is going to be working hard at our job is greater than the other job. Working hard at our job, there's a 60% chance she's going to get that high wage, 40% chance she's going to consume that low wage and get the utility of the low wage, minus the 4, which is the disutility of working hard. That's just set equal to 10. Again, they gave us utility already. We just have to plug in 10. The selection constraint, well, it's going to be identical on the left side, but now on the right side, this is where it gets a little different. Instead of just making the low wage for sure, there's some chance that we're going to make the high wage even though we shirked, even though we didn't work hard. There's a 20% chance we're still going to consume the high wage, so we're going to plug it into our utility function. There's an 80% chance that we're going to make the low wage, so we're going to have the utility of our low wage. And now the cost of effort when we don't work hard is 2. So this was different in a couple ways, but make sure you understand all those differences. So from here, we want to, well, we need to organize it to be equal to something that we see on the test. So we know this is the right answer for the selection constraint, but we need to make it look like something, one of our answer choices. So we subtract 0.2 WH from both sides, and we subtract 0.8 U of WL from both sides, and we get 0.4 U of WH minus 0.4 U of WL, and then we add 4 to both sides and get positive 2 on the right side. So this is what we were able to factor out that 0.4 and match it up with an answer choice that we see on the test. So from here, the next question says, suppose that the utility is actually 18W over 20 plus W. With perfect information, the cost of hiring Morgan to work hard, WC, is given by, well, we know that we just need to do a participation constraint here where we're 100% that she's going to work hard, so she's going to make the WC, and we know we're going to have minus 4 as her disutility of effort, and we're going to set that equal to 10. And we're going to solve for WC in this case, doing some algebra. Cross multiplying, we get this, and subtracting 14 WC from each side and dividing through by 4, we find that WC is equal to 70. Then it says, which of the following represents the extra cost of hiring Morgan to work hard due to uncertainty and information asymmetry? So this is the extra cost due to moral hazard. Another way they could have said this to find the same answer would be how much lower would the wage be with certainty. Again, we're just going to find the difference between our expected wage with uncertainty and our wage with certainty. Well, what's our expected wage with uncertainty? 60% of the time we're going to expect to pay her WH, 40% of the time we're going to expect to pay her WL. That's our cost to the firm when there's unobservable behavior or uncertainty or moral hazard. We're going to minus WC from that because this is the cost of the firm with certainty. So this is going to be the extra cost associated with the uncertainty. The next question says, if the likelihood of success if Morgan works hard were higher, the optimal incentive contract would call for blank pay if the restaurant is successful, and blank pay if the restaurant is not successful, and expected compensation cost will be blank. So to answer these kinds of questions, there's a bunch of these you'll see in the old test booklet. You literally want to memorize this chart. Usually I'm not a fan of memorizing, but a lot of these are counterintuitive, they're hard to think about, so just memorize this chart. This chart says, as these variables increase, what happens to my high wage and my low wage? So, for instance, as my reservation wage goes up, both my high wage and my low wage have to go up. If the cost of my hard effort goes up, well, my high wage has to go up, and my low wage actually goes down. If F, which is the probability that if I work hard, we are actually successful, if that goes up, in this case, my high wage goes down and my low wage goes up. So this was the one that we had to look at to answer this question, and we see that that's going to call for lower pay if the restaurant is successful, higher pay if the restaurant is not successful, and expected compensation cost in this case is going to be higher overall because that, is going to be lower overall because that lower pay if the restaurant is successful outweighs that higher pay if the restaurant is unsuccessful.